Jasmine Williams moved quietly through the night mansion, her footsteps soft against the polished marble. Every chandelier sparkled, every room smelled faintly of roses and wood polish, but the house always felt cold. Ji-hoon Knight, the master of the house, was a man wrapped in mystery. Tall, broad-shouldered, with dark eyes that never seemed to smile, he commanded the respect of an entire city. The newspapers called him ruthless. The workers whispered that he had no heart, but Jasmine had seen something different. Late at night, when she crept past his study with her cleaning cloth, she sometimes saw him standing by the tall windows. Alone. His strong hands shoved into his pockets. His shoulders tense, his face caught in the pale moonlight. He wasn't working then, wasn't commanding. He looked lost. Lonely. Jasmine never spoke to him unless necessary. She was just a maid, after all. But inside her heart, she sometimes wondered, what would it be like if this powerful man could step out of his world? If he could know what it felt like to live simply? To serve instead of command. The idea came to Jasmine one evening while she was polishing the silver tray. The thought was foolish, outrageous even. But when Ji-hoon walked into the room, tall and sharp in his black suit, the words escaped her lips before she could stop them. "Sir," she said softly, twisting her apron. "May I ask you something unusual?" Ji-hoon raised a brow, his eyes narrowing slightly. "Unusual? You do know I don't like wasting time." Jasmine's heart pounded. But she forced the words out. "Would you wear a maid's uniform? Pretend to be me. Pretend to clean. To serve." The silence stretched like a blade in the air. Jasmine's cheeks burned. "What have I done? He'll fire me. Maybe worse," but then his lips curved slightly, not in anger, but in curiosity. "You want me, Ji-hoon Knight, to play the maid?" Jasmine's voice was barely a whisper. "Just for one evening. Then you'll understand." His dark gaze studied her for a long moment. Jasmine couldn't breathe. Then, to her shock, he said calmly, "Tomorrow night. 1 hour. But only because you asked." The next evening, Jasmine laid out the uniform on the bed, a simple black and white maid's dress, with lace trim on the apron. She half expected him to laugh at it and refuse, but when Ji-hoon entered the room wearing the uniform, her mouth fell open, the apron strained across his broad shoulders, and the cap looked ridiculous perched on his dark hair. Yet his serious face made it even more unbelievable. "Well?" he asked, folding his arms. "How do I look?" Jasmine pressed her lips together, trying not to laugh. "Not like a maid yet. You must act the part. Clean the table. Carry a tray." She hesitated, her voice trembling. "And obey when I give orders." His brow lifted. "Orders? From you?" "Yes, sir." Ji-hoon smirked, but then, to her shock, he obeyed. He picked up a feather duster and awkwardly waved it across the table. He polished a glass but left fingerprints. He tried carrying a tray, wobbling slightly as he balanced it. Jasmine's hand flew to her mouth as she burst into laughter, bright, warm, and free. Ji-hoon stopped, staring at her. He hadn't heard laughter like that in his house in years. Something in his chest stirred. And for the first time, he allowed himself to smile back. Later, in the quiet kitchen, Ji-hoon leaned on the counter, his maid's cap tilted awkwardly. His usually perfect hair was slightly messy, and his sleeves were rolled up. "Jasmine," he asked suddenly, his voice quieter than she had ever heard. "Is this really your life every day? Working, cleaning, and being ignored?" Jasmine lowered her gaze. "Yes, sir. That is what it means to be a maid. We fade into the background. People see the polished floors, the clean silver, but they don't see us." Ji-hoon's eyes darkened, his jaw tightening. No one should fade. When Jasmine brought tea into the sitting room, Elena's eyes swept over her like a blade. She smirked. "So this is your maid, Ji-hoon. She looks Very ordinary. Jasmine lowered her head, her cheeks burning, but Ji-hoon's reply shocked them both. His eyes never left Jasmine as he said firmly, "She is not ordinary." Elena's smile froze. She had seen the way Ji-hoon looked at Jasmine. Jealousy burned in her chest, and she swore she would not let a simple maid steal him. Soon, whispers filled the mansion. The other staff noticed the stolen glances, the gentle words, the way Ji-hoon always seemed near Jasmine. One evening, the butler pulled Jasmine aside. "Miss Jasmine," he warned. "People are talking. If the city finds out, it will ruin you and him." Jasmine's heart sank. She didn't want to cause trouble for Ji-hoon. That night, she cried quietly in her small room. Finally, with trembling hands, she packed her small suitcase. She would leave. It was better this way. At dawn, Jasmine walked to the gate with her suitcase. Her hands shook, her heart breaking with every step, but Ji-hoon was already there, waiting. His face was dark, his eyes burning. "Where are you going?" he demanded. Tears filled her eyes. "I have to leave, sir. People are gossiping. Elena hates me. I don't want to shame you." Ji-hoon's voice softened, though his eyes blazed. "Jasmine. Do you think I care what they say? Do you think I'll let gossip take you away from me?" She shook her head. "You are Ji-hoon Knight. I am only your maid." He stepped forward, pulling her close, his voice breaking with emotion. "No. You are the woman I love. The only one who has ever seen me is not my money, not my power." Her tears spilled over. And when he kissed her again, under the gray morning sky, she knew she could never leave him. Elena did not give up easily. She began visiting more often, always dressed in the most expensive gowns, always pretending to be helpful. One afternoon, Jasmine overheard her whispering to Ji-hoon in the hall. "You need a wife who suits your name, Ji-hoon. Not a servant girl. What will people think when they see you with her?" Jasmine froze, her heart aching. She waited, desperate for his reply. "I don't care what they think," Ji-hoon said coldly. "I have made my choice." But Elena only smiled sweetly, her eyes glinting with malice. "Then she will pay the price." The next days were torture. Elena spread rumors in the city. She hinted to the press that Ji-hoon's mystery woman was someone shameful. Whispers grew louder. One evening, Jasmine walked into the sitting room and found Elena seated beside Ji-hoon, her hand resting lightly on his arm. Jasmine's heart shattered. She dropped the tray she was carrying, the sound echoing like thunder. Elena smirked, but Ji-hoon immediately stood, crossing the room in 2 strides. "Jasmine," but she turned away, tears burning her eyes. "I should not be here. I don't belong in your world." Before Ji-hoon could stop her, she fled. Ji-hoon did not hesitate. He chased after her, his voice echoing through the marble halls. "Jasmine! Stop!" But Jasmine was already outside, the night wind whipping through her hair as she ran toward the gate. "Jasmine!" His voice was raw, desperate. She turned, tears streaking her face. "You deserve someone like Elena. Not me. I was foolish to dream." Ji-hoon's chest ached as he strode forward, gripping her hands. "Foolish? Jasmine, don't you see? You are the only one who makes me feel alive. The only one who makes this mansion feel like a home. Without you, all of this," he gestured to the grand house behind him, "means nothing." Her lips trembled. And when he kissed her under the moonlight, the world around them, for the first time, Ji-hoon decided to step out of his world. He disguised himself in plain clothes and took Jasmine into the city. They walked through a crowded market, hand in hand. Jasmine showed him the little things: roasted chestnuts, cotton candy, street lanterns glowing in the dark. Ji-hoon, usually so stern, laughed like a boy. Jasmine watched him with awe, her powerful master transformed into a man, simple and human. That night, sitting by the river, he whispered, "I never thought I would belong anywhere. But with you, Jasmine, I finally do." Elena, furious at losing, made one final move. She invited Ji-hoon to a grand gala, spreading the news to the press that she would attend as his future bride. When Jasmine heard, her heart nearly stopped. She thought it was true that Ji-hoon had chosen Elena after all. She packed her things once more, her hands shaking, ready to disappear forever, but this time, Ji-hoon found her before she could leave. He caught her by the wrist in the hall, his eyes blazing. "Were you really going to run away again?" Jasmine's tears spilled. "You're going to the gala with her. What else am I supposed to think?" Ji-hoon cupped her face gently, forcing her to look at him. "Listen to me. I am going there tonight only to end it. To tell the world the truth. That I already belong to someone. To you." Her eyes widened, her breath trembling. "To me?" "Yes." His voice was steady, filled with unshakable resolve. "Jasmine, I don't care if you were born a maid. You are my heart. My everything. From this moment, I am yours." That night, Ji-hoon walked into the gala with Jasmine at his side. Gasps filled the room. Elena's face twisted in rage, but Ji-hoon held Jasmine's hand tightly, his eyes never leaving hers. "She is the woman I love," he declared to the crowd. "And no one will take her place." Whispers spread like wildfire, but Ji-hoon didn't care. His world, his empire, his power, all of it meant nothing compared to the woman beside him. Jasmine trembled, but when Ji-hoon kissed her in front of everyone, she knew this love would stand against every storm, and for the first time in her life, Jasmine no longer felt like a servant. She felt like the queen of his heart. The gala scandal spread through the city like wildfire. The next morning, newspapers carried bold headlines: Ji-hoon Knight declares love for his maid. By noon, the Knight mansion was flooded with calls from investors, politicians, and the worst of all families. That evening, Ji-hoon's mother, Lady Yoon-suk Knight, arrived. Regal in her pearls and silk, she swept into the mansion with disapproval written all over her face. Her sharp eyes fell on Jasmine, who stood nervously by the staircase. "So this is the maid?" she asked coldly. Jasmine lowered her head, hands trembling, but Ji-hoon stepped forward, his voice firm. "This is not the maid. This is Jasmine. The woman I love." Lady Yoon-suk's lips tightened. "Love? Ji-hoon, you are a knight. Love cannot blind you to duty. Do you know how much shame this brings to our name?" "I don't care about shame," Ji-hoon said, his eyes blazing. "What I care about is her." The silence stretched heavy between mother and son. And Jasmine's heart pounded, torn between fear and love. Elena Hayes, humiliated after the gala, refused to accept defeat. She spread cruel stories in society, whispering that Jasmine had bewitched Ji-hoon, that she was only after his fortune, but Elena didn't stop there. One evening, she appeared at the mansion, her eyes glinting with fake pity. "Jasmine, may I speak with you privately?" Against her better judgment, Jasmine agreed. Elena's voice dripped with venom as she said, "Do you really think he'll keep you forever? You're just a distraction. A shiny toy. When he tires of you, he'll cast you aside like dust." Jasmine's chest tightened, her confidence crumbling, "And when that happens," Elena continued, leaning closer, "it won't just be you who suffers. The entire staff will blame you for ruining their master. Do you want that burden?" Her cruel words planted doubt in Jasmine's heart. That night, she cried silently into her pillow, wondering if Elena was right, as if Elena's poison wasn't enough. The photo, his jaw tightening, then crumpled it in his fist. "Jin-soo," he muttered, fury low in his throat. Lisa's voice shook. "What if he shows this to the board? To the press?" His eyes snapped to hers, blazing with fire. "Then I'll burn his entire career to the ground." The Ice King was gone. In his place was something more dangerous, something that would scorch anyone who threatened what was his. Lisa's breath caught. Part of her wanted to feel safe in that promise. Protected, but another part whispered the truth: their secret flame was no longer safe, it was unraveling, and someone out there was ready to set it ablaze. the envelope was only the beginning. By Wednesday, a second photo appeared, this one slid under Lisa's apartment door, her breath caught as she lifted it. Not just her and Chan Min this time. It was them in the boardroom, his hand lingering against hers under the table. A touch no one else had noticed. Until now, on the back, another message, sharper, colder, tell him to play nice. Or everyone sees. Lisa's stomach dropped. The next morning, she stormed into Chan Min's office, her voice low and furious. This isn't just Jinsu teasing anymore. Someone is following us. Watching us outside of work. He looked up from his desk, eyes narrowing as she handed him the photo. He studied it in silence, his jaw clenching so tight she thought it might crack. Finally, he spoke. They want something. And if we don't give it to them? Lisa's voice trembled, they'll regret it. His tone was ice, but Lisa wasn't reassured. She had seen ruthless before in boardrooms, in gossip columns, but this was different. This was personal. The demand came that night, an anonymous email sent to Chan Min's private account. Lisa sat beside him in his penthouse as he read it aloud, the glow of the screen casting shadows across his sharp features. Transfer 50 million won into the listed account. No questions, no police. Have you seen her? Or your little American? He asked strangers desperately, showing them her picture, but days turned into weeks, and still no trace, until one rainy evening, Ji-hoon found himself walking down a narrow street, when he spotted a familiar figure standing under a broken umbrella, working at a small flower shop. His breath caught. Jasmine. Without hesitation, he ran to her. She turned, her eyes widening in shock. Ji-hoon, what are you doing here? He didn't answer. He pulled her into his arms, rain soaking them both. Do you know how long I've been looking for you? Don't you ever leave me again, Jasmine. I can't live without you. Her tears mixed with the rain as she whispered, but your empire. Your family, none of it matters, he said fiercely. You are my empire. You are my family. And I will fight the whole world if I must, but I will never let you go. Ji-hoon brought Jasmine back to the mansion, not as a maid, but as the woman of his heart. This time, he made sure the world knew. He called a press conference and stood proudly with Jasmine at his side. She is not just my maid, Ji-hoon declared. She is my partner. The woman I will spend my life with. If anyone has a problem with that, they may walk away now. The room buzzed with shock. But slowly, one by one, allies began to applaud. Not all approved, but enough stood by him. Back at the mansion, Lady Yoon-suk watched quietly. Her stern eyes softening as she saw the way her son held Jasmine's hand with unshakable devotion. Perhaps love, she realized, was stronger than duty. That night, Ji-hoon took Jasmine to the grand balcony overlooking the city. Beneath the stars, the moonlight bathed them in silver. With silence finally he whispered with love, kneeling before her, and a warmth that would last for a maid's uniform. The day of their wedding was like no other to serve. The city buzzed with gossip. I want to serve you for the rest of my life. His maid. Will you marry me? Some called it madness. Jasmine's tears sparkled as she whispered back. When Jasmine walked down the aisle in a simple yet elegant gown, 1,000 times felt his breath stolen away. And as his lips met hers, she wasn't just a maid anymore. She was his bride, his queen. The whispers in the pews melted when Ji-hoon took her hand and vowed, before the world, I choose you. Now and forever. The moment they kissed, the hall erupted in both gasps and applause. And Jasmine, though trembling, realized she had finally stepped out of the shadows. The mansion transformed after their marriage. Where silence once ruled, Jasmine's laughter now filled the halls. She replaced the cold roses in crystal vases with fresh wildflowers. She made the grand dining hall a place of warmth, inviting not only business partners but also old friends and staff to sit at the same table. Ji-hoon, once known for being ruthless, began smiling more. He still commanded respect, but people whispered that his maid-turned-wife had softened the ice around his heart. Yet not everyone was pleased. Lady Yoon-suk night visited often, her disapproval lingering like a shadow. At one dinner, she set down her fork and asked coldly. Tell me, Jasmine, do you even know how to host a high society gala? Or will you embarrass us in front of the board? Jasmine's hands shook, but she smiled politely. I may not know yet, ma'am, but I am willing to learn. And I will not let Ji-hoon down. For a moment, silence reigned. Then Ji-hoon placed his hand over Jasmine's, his voice sharp. Mother, it is not her who should prove herself to you. It is you who must prove yourself worthy of her presence. Lady Yoon-suk's eyes narrowed. The war between approval and rejection had only begun, just when they thought Elena Hayes was gone. She returned like a storm. She appeared at a charity event, dazzling in red silk, her smile sharper than knives. To the cameras, she said sweetly, I'm so happy for Ji-hoon and his wife. Let's see how long their fairy tale lasts. That night, rumors spread again about Jasmine's humble beginnings, about her lack of sophistication. Elena whispered in the ears of influential families, poisoning their thoughts, but what Elena didn't expect was that Ji-hoon no longer cared for society's approval. Instead of hiding Jasmine, he proudly brought her everywhere: business meetings, galas, public dinners, forcing the world to see her not as a maid, but as his equal. One rainy evening, as Jasmine left a boutique, an old man stopped her. His clothes were shabby, his eyes familiar yet haunting. Miss Jasmine? He whispered. She frowned. Do I know you? The man's lips trembled. I am your father. Jasmine froze, her heart pounding. She had grown up believing she was abandoned as a child, left to fend for herself. Now, a ghost from her past appeared out of nowhere. Before she could question him, he disappeared into the crowd, leaving only confusion and fear in her chest. That night, Jasmine told Ji-hoon everything. He held her tightly, his jaw tense. Why now? He muttered. Why appear after all these years? Jasmine shook her head, tears brimming. I don't know. But something in his eyes. It felt real. Like he was hiding something important. The next day, Ji-hoon ordered an investigation. Slowly, secrets began to unravel. Her father wasn't just a poor wanderer, he had once been a wealthy businessman who lost everything after being betrayed. Betrayed. By the same families now allied. The truth hit like a storm. Documents revealed that decades ago, Jasmine's father had been swindled out of his fortune by the Hayes family, Elena's own father leading the scheme. Ji-hoon slammed his fist on the desk. So this isn't just about love. This is about revenge. Elena doesn't just hate Jasmine, she fears her bloodline. Jasmine's hands trembled as she whispered, all this time. I thought I was nothing. But they destroyed my family. Ji-hoon cupped her face, his eyes fierce. Then we will rebuild it together. And we will bring them down. Elena, sensing her power slipping, approached Lady Yoon-suk secretly. Your son's little maid is dangerous, Elena hissed. Do you know who she really is? She's the daughter of the man my family destroyed. If Ji-hoon sides with her, he will ruin everything you built. Lady Yoon-suk was shaken. Could it be true? Was Jasmine's presence not only scandalous but dangerous to the family legacy? Torn between her son's happiness and her fear of ruin, Lady Yoon-suk faced a choice: protect her dynasty, or protect the woman her son loved. At the next family gathering, Lady Yoon-suk confronted Jasmine directly. Tell me, she demanded, her voice trembling with anger, is it true that your father once belonged to the circle of power? That he was destroyed by Elena's family? Jasmine nodded, her eyes wet but steady. It's true. But I never sought revenge. All I wanted was to serve honestly. To live quietly. Until Ji-hoon saw me. For the first time, Lady Yoon-suk faltered. Jasmine's voice carried no greed, only sincerity. And Ji-hoon, standing beside her, declared firmly, Mother, this is no longer about the past. This is about the future. And my future is with Jasmine. Lady Yoon-suk's eyes filled with tears. Slowly, she reached for Jasmine's hand. Then perhaps I was wrong. Perhaps love is stronger. The final battle came in the boardroom. Elena and her allies tried to strip Ji-hoon of control, using Jasmine's background as ammunition. Ji-hoon walked hand in hand with Jasmine, his voice calm yet unshakable, "You claim she is unworthy. That her past is shameful. But I tell you this, without her, I am nothing. She is the reason I stand here today. And if you cannot accept her, then you cannot have me either." The room erupted in chaos. But one by one, allies who respected Ji-hoon's courage began siding with him. Elena's power crumbled, her schemes unraveling before her eyes. Defeated, she stormed out of the boardroom, her empire collapsing with her. That evening, on the mansion balcony, Ji-hoon wrapped Jasmine in his arms. "The world tried to tear us apart," he whispered. "But we won. Because we chose love over power." Jasmine smiled through her tears. "And we will keep choosing each other. Always." As the stars glittered above them, the mansion no longer felt like a cold prison of marble and silence. It was a home, a place of warmth, laughter, and love, and together, Ji-hoon and Jasmine proved that even the most unexpected love can conquer history, gossip, betrayal, and power, forever. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the story, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Also click on the notification bell, so that you will get notified whenever a new story comes up. You can also go ahead to tell me the country you are watching from, so that I can make a story for you.